Welcome to part 3 of the series on how to set yourself up for lasting success with the right mindset and goals. Goals that are truly yours, and most importantly, goals that complete you in the big scheme of things. In this series of goal setting videos, I'll be going over the steps that will enable you to set meaningful goals for yourself and give you the power, tenacity, and clarity to persevere at anything that you intentionally set your mind to. Assuming you went through the exercise of acceptance and forgiveness with the right attitude of taking full responsibility and understanding that you have what it takes to reorient yourself. It's now time you channel that constructive energy towards discovering what is truly meaningful to you in your life, so you can derive your goals and targets that truly matter to you and that truly motivate you to be your best version. How do you do that? Well, you could search the internet, ask your best friend or neighbor, or possibly even ChatGPT what the next 5 years of your life should look like. Or you can simply take some time and resign yourself to solitude, somewhere peaceful, somewhere where you're left alone with just your thoughts for an hour or so, if possible maybe a few times a week, at least in the beginning. And then reflect on those areas of life that are screaming for your attention. You'll know exactly what those are as soon as you eliminate the noise and distractions around you and just resign yourself to stillness. The voice that speaks to you when everything else around you is silent is a very, very powerful voice. It's unfiltered and it tells you exactly how it is. Now, let's not confuse that with the negative chatter that comes from fear in the place of lack. That is not what we're talking about. If you sincerely consult your conscience, you will immediately have a few things pop up in your head that you know need your attention, but you've been ignoring them or are just too afraid to face them. Ask yourself, what are some practical steps that I can take to make a difference in those areas? What does my future self look like when it comes to improving whatever it is that is screaming for my attention? Write it down as clearly as you can. A simple journal like this can do wonders for you. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. There is just something about putting your thoughts down on paper. It demands your full focus and attention and helps you think. It's the first step to turning your thoughts into some form of reality, even if it's just written words on paper. There will be things that will pop out to you immediately, and there will be things that will reveal themselves to you as you think through your ideal path to success in those areas. A word of caution here. While you're doing this exercise of thinking through and writing down your ideal path to success, thoughts will start popping up in your head. Thoughts like, this is too good to be true, or this is not going to work for me. Maybe even, I really don't want to do this, or it just sounds too simple. The list is never ending. I just want you to remember that the voice in your head will tell you the things that it knows will get your attention. It will press on those weak spots so you start doubting yourself or your ability to succeed before you even begin. We all have our triggers and they're different for everyone, but we all have them. So it's important that you are aware of this beforehand. It's normal and we all have to work through our doubts and our weaknesses. So how do you do that? First of all, you ignore all the negative chatter in your head. That nagging voice in your head will try to talk you out of anything that is good for you. And this would be the beginning of you acknowledging its presence. It's important that you understand that just because you decided to take responsibility and make a change, it is not going to just leave you alone. The negative chatter will always be around. You will just get better at dealing with it with time. So write out the things or areas of life that are screaming for your attention and think how they connect within the big scheme of things, or how you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years or more down the road. The length of time is not the focus. What's important is that you think of the practical and actionable steps to start taking action immediately, no matter how small it is. Try to derive and connect your goals with what really matters most in your life. For example, for me, Everything falls under faith, family, and finances. And since those are the most important areas for me, everything I work towards is always derived and has to be connected within those areas. For example, faith for me involves mind, body, and soul. So to get to my ideal state, I put simple steps in place, things that are easy for me to do and I can be consistent at, which is extremely important. Things like eating well a certain number of days in a week, add in intermittent fasting where I can. At a minimum, go for a quick walk. Go for a 30-minute walk whenever I possibly can in my day. Try to go somewhere for 10 to 15 minutes to reflect on my day. I personally find walking extremely beneficial. It is a powerhouse with various benefits, and in my opinion, the most underrated physical activity. During my walks, I can not only listen to something motivational, something that's beneficial for me, but at the same time, it's also a great time for me to just reflect on things. And these are all small steps with massive impact in the long run. These can be modified to fit your lifestyle, but the key here is to set steps that you can take consistently. And when you fall, which you will, it's easy for you to get back on. Too often, people set goals that stretch them far beyond their comfort zone and abilities. When you first start out, you have to look for reasons to do things and not beat yourself up because you can't act like you're ideal on day one. Small steps and successes are more likely to lead you to massive success, so don't underestimate the power of small, consistent action. On days where I feel spent and overwhelmed and just want to give up, I have to remind myself of my why and the broader vision, which helps me recenter and gives me the clarity and the willpower to push through. And since I'm going for small, consistent wins, there's always a lingering feeling of joy that I'm still continuing towards my ideal. You want that positive feeling of taking action to be with you at least most of the times, because that's going to have a tremendous impact on your psyche, performance, and overall view of yourself and your ability to succeed. So derive your goals from within the subcategories in your core areas of focus of life and break it down into very simple, practical steps that you can act on now. On the surface, these steps may sound very basic, but when you start doing these simple things, you put the power of compound effect on your side. Einstein once said that man's greatest discovery was compound interest. I think we could take that concept and apply it to consistent compound action over time. The compound effect of small things, positive or negative. You're training yourself to be consistent on small wins, and soon you will carry those over to bigger and better things in life. The key to a fulfilling and successful life in the most comprehensive sense. I constantly remind myself that life is a journey and not a destination. And since the journey is the longest part, it makes sense to live it well. If you're wondering how, the answer is simple. One day at a time. So let's move on to step 2. Why you should derive your present goals with bird's eye view of your life. Everything around you is interconnected, and so are the problems and opportunities that you face in life. The best way for you to achieve whatever it is that you desire is to truly understand why do you want that in the first place, and how does that impact your overall life, so you don't end up struggling towards empty goals that leave you feeling disappointed and unfulfilled. Remember, you either set goals for yourself or they will be set for you by your environment or the society. There's no option to sit on the sidelines. You are going to struggle in life whether you like it or not. The question is, do you want to struggle towards what you have consciously chosen for yourself, or do you want to struggle on what's been given to you by someone else other than yourself? Think of yourself similar to a unique and precious stone whose true brilliance only shines when it gets cut and polished. Now, the stone doesn't complain during the cutting and polishing process, but we often do, even when it's to our own benefits. Think of your overarching goals or the macro goals and the small consistent steps to achieving them, the micro goals, that are fulfilling to you in the true sense. What I mean by that is set goals that give you a sense of true purpose while you work on them and lasting contentment when you eventually achieve them, because they complete an important piece of life that fits you and ultimately gives you the feeling of true and lasting success. Don't copy others. Look inside and ponder over what truly completes you. The answers will come sooner than you think. When you derive your goals that are connected to your core, you will have the willpower to persevere when the going gets tough. And I say when because there's no question about it. It will get tough and your resolve will be tested and things will go wrong. Make no mistake, Murphy's Law is waiting for you around the corner to jack you up. For those of you who don't know, Murphy's Law states that anything that can go wrong will go wrong and at the worst possible time. For example, maybe you set a fitness goal for yourself and get your favorite workout clothes, sign up for a gym membership and whatever else you need, and you're so pumped up and you can just see yourself at the finish line, looking and feeling great. And then reality hits and you fall sick after the first week, and that breaks your routine and throws you off for the next several weeks. Your rhythm is now broken and your old self will try to kick back in and tell you that all the reasons why this will not work this time. This is where being aware of the negative chatter in your head will help. This is the moment it's been waiting for. Now it will start its offense against your goals. What's the point? It's too late. You have too much to do already. This is not for you. Try something else, and on and on and on, eventually defeating you into postponing it for the next year. Seriously, who wants to live with constant thoughts of defeat? It's better to tell yourself that you will go after it harder next year and it will be different, and on so you can move on with your life not feeling like a failure. The goals you set for yourself should have a deeper meaning behind them for you to have the right amount of motivation to persevere and ultimately prevail. Standalone goals that are either a copy of what someone else wants or a reflection of what someone else has would not stand up to the hurdles of life and will result in you throwing in the towel. This will further add to the negative spectrum of resentment and deter you in persevering towards other goals that you may have set for yourself. Essentially, a defeat in one key goal will result in loss of morale and willpower. You will start to question your ability to achieve other targets that you've set for yourself. Remember, the battle is in your heart and mind, so it makes sense to start there and find your why, so you have the clarity of purpose and resilience in the face of challenges and enhanced focus and determination to persevere. You need to train your mind to understand that the path to success is not a straight line. You should expect to be tested, and when things get tough, it's your job to remind yourself that this is Murphy stopping by for a quick visit, and it's up to you to decide how long he gets to stay. When your goals are connected to your core and a clearly defined ideal state, you are more likely to have the willpower to gather yourself back up and get back in the ring. Maybe some of you are thinking, how is this going to help me? All I care about is doubling my income or losing X amount of weight, or something even more specific. While there is nothing wrong with having an arbitrary goal, the challenge to having a goal that is not anchored to your core is that once you achieve it, the feeling of emptiness will soon follow. That is, if you happen to be among the few who can actually grind through all the shitstorm to make it happen. Life is full of challenges. The only question is, do you want to face random challenges or challenges that you have consciously chosen for yourself because it is essential for your growth and future well-being? Pursuing a random or unrelated goal, you are trying to modify something that clearly has some perceived impact on your well-being, but you will not address the core need since it is not deeply connected with your life. Generally, when we look at issues we have in our lives, we have what I call the iceberg perspective. It's like looking at our life and thinking, if I fix this one thing on the surface, then everything else is going to be great, while the real issues lie deep beneath the surface. So if you're going to put any real effort toward achieving a goal, it's worth it to make sure that it's a goal that fulfills you as a whole, like a unique piece of a puzzle that completes you, or the right brush stroke in the painting of your life. Yes, you can always develop various skills to get by, but you are more likely to achieve true and fulfilling success if you do what speaks to you, and if you take the time to reflect, you will know exactly what that is. The takeaway from step 3 is set goals that are unique to your natural abilities and speak to your inner core, and set small, actionable steps towards your ultimate vision. Thank you so much for listening once again. If you found this video helpful, please like and share. If you've been through similar situations and circumstances, or have used strategies in the past that have worked for you, I would love to hear those in the comment. Until next time, see you in part 4. Peace.